Hello and welcome to Real Hi-Fi Help. Does your sound vibrate? When I spoke to people that described to me that special sound that they heard, it was in a way indescribable, but in another way, we kind of in the end found out what it was that made it so unique and magical. And that is the fact that the sound vibrates, instruments, voices, and the overall flow. So it just became more magical. And these are some of those, what can you say, tricks that I know of in this video here that will make the sound vibrate more. Now, I think that many times when you deal with normal cables, for example, the lower end ones, you get this sort of fake suppressed darkness, and you have a lot of focus on structure, on power, on grip, stuff like that. So I think it's important to realize that this has a tendency of numbing the sound. So you want to go for cables that are generally more fine, less got less of a cheap screening and cheap materials and stuff like that. So the sound just more naturally vibrates. And I also want to say that having a very dampened, soft wall can also reduce vibration, so beware that. And also carpet to speaker interaction, sometimes the carpet just numbs the sound, silences the sound too much, so you also want to be aware of that. So just find a proper coupling between the speaker and the carpet. And another thing that was very interesting that I did for a short while was just have an invisible plastic wall behind me, behind my listening position. This made my body simply be able to receive the vibrational flow from the speakers a hell of a lot more. So it just became a lot more interactive, the sound, and more like a pressure cooker type of flow, which was very interesting. Some people don't like that because they feel that it's uncomfortable. I kind of liked it. Especially because I have about 6 meters behind me of free air. So it kind of kept the speakers more in check. And I found it interesting. So that definitely made me feel a sort of vibration more with the body. So that was nice. But also, I feel that when you go from processed sound that is upsampled to 24-bit 96K down to this here, that is typically a more harsh, more flawed, original type of sound, but it usually also has a bit more of a vibrational type of flow that is more released. So you also might want to look into that. And when I removed Wi-Fi, it made the sound more natural in the way that it kind of vibrated more, kind of got released more. So look into that. And I mentioned this before in my channel. Instead of using a coax cable with a 75 ohm shielded cable, instead using an equivalent RCA cable that doesn't have a 75 ohm shield on it, it can actually make the sound vibrate more, so it just becomes more natural. And that's also why I use oyate plugs instead of FuTech, which I did before. I find that oyate plugs, even though they're more noisy, they just vibrate more. They just seem more natural. And some people won't necessarily like that because they want a more controlled, perhaps firm and pleasant sound that the FuTech give, or other plugs. So just bear that in mind, And what I did on my DAC was use an Audio Note ISIS power cable where I had double pull on the minus pole. It's only 1 meter. And then I took the outer gray stuff away, only on the DAC. And to some degree, it made the sound a lot more natural, a lot more free. But yeah, I kind of lost a bit of that control, a bit of that timing doing that. And, that's fine for me because I'm really into signature and freedom and having a sound that is so, what do you call it, untainted and pure as possible. So I think a lot of guys won't necessarily appreciate that. So, but just know that's a possibility, but that I can't officially recommend doing that because you're using the cable for something that is not really 100% supposed to be like. So, just know that I can't officially recommend you doing that. It's just what I did, and yeah. And later you can actually do what some of my friends did. You can replace the plus thread on that same cable to something that's a lot more fine, high quality, and perhaps a bit thinner cable. And then later on after that, you can then put some PTFE outer layer on it, material on it, and then a carbon sock for shielding. I heard from some friends that again made a huge difference. So but again, I can't officially recommend doing this, but I just know that, if you're really into sound, signature, freedom, vibration, all of those, intimate things that are so difficult to get unless you have a ridiculous amount of money, these are things that you can do. I just can't officially recommend you doing them. And yeah, me and several other people, we've been using Summer Cable Quadra Blue. That I think that works with a lot of gear, especially transistor gear in general, and stuff that is perhaps a bit on the warm side. So very interesting, especially with OE8 79 plugs, original, not the copy ones. Has a very, very good compatible sound working together. So that's a sound that really vibrates, and which is a bit dry but very natural, and you're getting a huge amount of value. I think that's only like $30 or something like that per meter. It could be $50 in some countries, but fantastic value. It is a speaker cable, so that is why I can't officially recommend doing that. Again, I want to say to you guys that one of my friends actually did this, which was very smart. I'll show this in another video, but he actually, because he only had a half-meter circa of that cable, what he did was he removed all the outer shielding, the cheap outer shielding, and then he put this PTFE stuff on it and carbon sock, and then he put it on some Vibor plugs, so he only had to pay like a third of these plugs. I had to pay like a third of that. And that took some plugs that were only half as good as this and almost made it sound as good as these plugs. So he took something that was a bit simple and primitive and turned it into an advantage. So just know that you could do that. You can do that, especially when you've got cheaper, more numb plugs that are, close to being copy plugs that aren't good, that are a bit dampened and warm in sound. You can do these sorts of tricks, and it gives you a lot of focus, power, coupling, and vibration, which this video is about. So yeah, a lot of really good stuff, and just something simple as having an LPSU to a streamer, a linear power supply, and just changing that standard cable, which is probably some kind of cheap $3 crap from China, changing it to some kind of a $100 or $200 fine silver cable with some better plugs, that's also going to create a hell of a lot more vibration in your sound. So just know that. And actually, the opposite of vibration is if you put tape on stuff. If something is too noisy, then you can actually take black tape and just wrap it around stuff like the AC adapters or whatever you've got, some few cables here and there. It does in a way boost the sound, make it more comfortable, bass rich and stuff, but it also in a way shuts it in, makes it a bit less natural. So just telling you guys, these are things that you can do to your sound. Just be aware that you do what's legal, follow the advice of an electrician or some professional guy that you know. These are just homemade solutions that aren't officially approved by any authority. So just do what's right, okay? Do what you feel is correct, right, legal, following the guidelines. So yeah, having said that, that's all in this video. Like and subscribe if you can.